Hi, everybody. Welcome to the second episode of Girl Power Talk podcast. Today, I, Rachita Sharma, your host, will be sharing thoughts about a very important subject along with our talented and remarkable young leaders from Girl Power Talk team, who I'll be disclosing to you very soon. So, today's subject and of discussion would be menstruation. It is one of those topics that has been long surrounded by misunderstanding and stigma. So, we are going to talk more about the untalked subjects, and we'll cover the menstrual cycle, stigma, and mental health because they are all related. So, we will begin with introducing our panel for today, and with that, I'll pass it on to our very talented Simran to go ahead and introduce herself.
Hi everyone, it is an honor to be here on this panel with these amazing women today. My name is Simran Singh and I am a young leader at Girl Power Talk speaking to you from Delhi, India. I'm 17 and I've been menstruating for over 4 years now. And yeah, it is, I think we all relate, it's a cycle. It's excited to talk about this very important issue today and passing over to my other amazing panelist, Jasmita.
Thank you, Simran. Hello, everyone. This is Jasmita. I too am speaking to you from India today, and I am 19. I think I've been menstruating for as long as I can remember because this uterus just won't leave me alone. But I am also a strong member of the club No Uterus, No Opinion by Rachel Green, of course. But yeah, that's about me. I'll pass it on to Jessie now.
Thank you, Jasmita. Hi, everyone. My name is Jessie. I'm 20 and I'm from the Philippines. I got my first official period when I was 12, and I'm looking forward to discussing this topic with everyone today. Passing it over to Ishita now.
Hi everyone, my name is Ishita. I am 20. I am speaking to you from Pune, India. And I got my first period when I was 12 as well. And I'm excited for this discussion that we're going to be having today.
Thank you, Ishita. Thank you, everyone, for sharing with us about you and introducing yourself to our audience. And now, because I feel left out, hi, I'm Rachita, and I started menstruating when I was around 11 years old as well. The funniest thing about my menstruation story was that I just got to know about something like this exist a week ago. I started, and the way our Southeast Asian culture or South Asian culture in general talks about menstruation or taboos it, I was told frequently by people because I just got to know what it is and I thought about it too much to actually start bleeding. Again, we know that doesn't make sense, but so are so many myths associated with it. But let's shift the gears and start with learning about each individual's unique and interesting story. So, my question for our panel today would be, how did you react when you first got your period? Like, just share with me your experience at the beginning. I remember Jesse using a word official, first official period. So, if you can throw some light, what is official and unofficial? And how were the first few months or even the first year for you to adapt to the changes that were happening to your body and how you were introduced to this new whole world where uterus suddenly had so much importance. So let's start with Jessie.
Yeah, just to clarify, I meant official because I bled when I was in 10 years old, and then it stopped, and then I bled again at 12. So I consider 12 being the official period. And when I got it, I was freaking scared. I got home from school to a bleeding underwear. So I was in the bathroom screaming for my mom to like pull it out of me or something like that. And yeah, I didn't have any problem with it physically, but emotionally, you kind of get more conscious and I don't know, I felt excited at the same time, but kind of more conscious because, like, I kind of more fixed myself, wear perfume to school, avoid being sweaty and all that. So, yeah, that was my experience.
Thank you, Jessie. I'm pretty sure, young girls all across the globe who are listening to us right now can relate because they have been there. And with this, I would like to ask our bold and beautiful Jasmita, what was your story with period? Like, did it scare you or did you scare it off?
I wish I scared it off because oh my god, it's such a task. I have had the nastiest relationship with my period ever since I can remember. I think I was 12 as well when I got my period, and it was right before my birthday. And my birthday was ruined. I was so upset and I was so angry. And it was not like right before my birthday party, but it was like a day prior. So I didn't realize that, oh, this is my period. Like I've gotten my period. I was like, am I not well? Am I okay? And then after like 5 minutes of just looking at my bloody underwear, I was, oh, okay, that's my period. Maybe like, guess I'm a woman now. Let's get me married. No, just kidding. But yeah, it was funny for me, and it was very scary. And I've just had the nastiest relationship, as I mentioned. I was very angry for being a woman and having to bleed every single month. But I think I'm growing now. Yeah, that's my. And I mean, I'm still making peace with the fact that I bleed every month, and it's so much trouble and pain and cramps and mood swings. But it is what it is. Over to who do I pass it on to? Simran?
Thanks, Jasmita. I think when you say I wish I had scared it off, I sympathize with you. But I think my period kind of fell in love with me over time. I initially I did not have a reaction. I was like, oh, okay. So by that time, a lot of my friends had already started getting their periods, so I was used to the idea. I think my mother had more of a reaction when I finally told her that. She's like, "Oh, you're going to school? Are you sure you'll be able to manage?" So I was like, yeah, of course. My first cycle was fine, but from the second cycle, like my period would last really long, at least 10 days, and be really heavy. But my gynec said that, it will settle down with time. And as I said, it fell in love with me. It kind of did. It got more regular, kind of. And initially, I had really bad cramps that I couldn't even walk with. But now they are better. Emotionally, as Jasmita said, I'm still adjusting to the fact that I have periods every month. I have to deal with them. You always sometimes feel dirty, especially you get annoyed with it when it coincides with some important event. But these kinds of conversations with my sisters and my friends have helped me accept periods as a natural phenomena. So yeah, that's a pretty fluctuating relationship I have.
Thank you.
What a
Thank you.
great enemies to lovers story Simran has.
Yeah, and I mean, an interesting thing that I can take out of this conversation is for everybody to note that 12 has been a pretty interesting year for women at Girl Power Talk, to say the least. So, I
It's
mean,
like a cult thing. It's like a cult thing. Everybody gets their period at 12 if you're working at Girl Power Dog.
that number is going into the book. So, as soon as we hear somebody turns 12, that will be our first question. So, have you started bleeding now? And the word I think just Simran actually brought up, I kind of felt dirty. And isn't that like, even in on the traditional sense, but that's put into our heads always that, oh, you must be feeling dirty right now, or you are dirty, or you are impure, and the kind of pressure and burden it gives to or puts on to a young 12-year-old girl, telling them what they can do or they cannot, how they must feel or what they must refrain from, is such a pressure. And I would like to ask Ishita, how was your story and how did you deal with it?
Well, fortunately, I can be a part of the cult because I also got my period at 12. Although, like Jessie, was kind of my unofficial period because it came randomly. It happened for like a day or two after months. So I don't know if that would be counted. But it was like later when I was 13 and I was on a road trip to a beach destination, really excited for a great vacation when I think I officially got my first period, and I just felt something was off, and we pulled over, and it was quite a mess to sum it up. And yeah, I had my mom and a couple of cousins, sisters help me out, but it wasn't really spoken about in my family at all. So I think it was kind of just something that I ignored and didn't really think about for the most part.
Wow, I mean, that wasn't a beach party you were expecting to be at. So there was uninvited guests, let's say that. I think one of the questions, that I can think of from this discussion is that Jasmita mentioned that she, realized in 5 minutes it was her period, or Simran said that her mother had more of a reaction than she did. So for me, as I said that I just got to know a week before when I first had that, oh, there is something like period that exists, and that was also because I found that out in school. But the official talk was never provided. or I wasn't sat down and my parents were like, let's talk about what's going to happen you in couple days, couple weeks, or couple years. And I mean, I know that schools are more progressive right now. The education system is advancing, at least in some of the schools, and they are educating you on how it happens, why it happens, how to deal with it, even not the emotional side but the physical side. But for me, I don't think so. Our school really sat us down, or maybe they were going to in a couple years, but not until you were 10 years old or 11 years old. um, to that, I want to understand that how has it changed over the years, or what was the talk that was given to you? Simran, do you want to go ahead?
My first question is, we always talk about this dirt talk that we see in movies. Is that a reality in India? I have never met anyone who got the talk. It's a myth to me. I was, like Rachita ma'am mentioned, I was one of those part of the privileged schools club who had a seminar where we talked about good touch, bad touch, and then we were shown a whisper ad on how to use a pad. But what was lacking, as is mentioned, is the emotional feelings we have when we get periods, or the real reason why we get periods, and how it's linked to childbirth, and how you stop menstruating when you get pregnant. All that was quite missing, but at least we were told, okay, this is something that happens and it's normal, and all of you will have it if you haven't yet. But majorly, I think a significant part of my knowledge came from very random Google searches and social media, of course.
Wow, it's the internet generation. And I think, Simran, by pregnant, you meant for all our, not so adult audience, you meant when two flowers meet each other and there are people kissing behind it, right?
Exactly,
For
exactly. I was like, what
sure.
pregnancy? What? What is Simran talking about?
Oh, it's the most beautiful phenomena. Come on.
Yeah, it's are just like when you really pray hard to God and you're gifted with a child, just that pregnancy, let's make
The
sure.
fairy godmother drops the child.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. There's so much that is left in between the sentences for us to figure out on our own. And like you mentioned, that this whole concept is pretty Western, that, oh, having a period talk with your daughters. And that's what I would say some or most of our story is on this call, especially who are from India. And I would like to ask Jesse, given the cultural difference, or is there any cultural difference when it comes to growing up in Philippines? Did you have a talk, or is that pretty common? How does that work out?
Well, I assure you guys I didn't get any talk, so we're all Asians here. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, all my knowledge came from the internet, and sometimes there were secret visits to the nurse clinic. So yeah, that's where I get it. So that shows how it's not openly discussed as well here.
Pretty nasty. You were like, visiting the nurse clinics secretly.
Yes, I'm a
That,
ninja at it.
yeah, I mean, that's again being noted down in the books. When you want to do something naughty, make sure to visit the nurse clinic, because there you'll get answers to your questions. And I know Simran brought up whisper, and I am not sure if I missed it, but do they ever say words like menstruation, period in their ads? I haven't heard them.
Not the ones that I've seen. Not the ones that
No,
I've seen.
no.
Yeah, I mean, Pari, sanitary pads, use us. We'll make you, fly. But what is it for? I mean, maybe one of the more informative video that can come out that actually talks about what is happening and why are you using it. It could help a lot of young girls and young boys, because then we won't end up secretly doing something or trying to Google or find answers to our questions, and we don't know even they are reliable sources. Because, oh my God, I've had so many friends come across sources that are of no use, talked about, mixed turmeric with something, something, and then your periods will go away. They'll be less painful. Try this, try that. And that's what we want to avoid, right? So if you give us direct access to information and knowledge, media is such a powerful source. Perhaps, the youth may have a better idea of what's going on. And when we talk about youth, how can we ignore our colleagues, our friends, our male counterparts? So given the understanding that they have about period is not just hilarious but also concerning. So can you recall any of the weirdest questions or something that was absolutely a mess that they ever asked about periods from you, or did you ever, hear them talking about it?
I think I think I have to go first. I'm sorry, guys. Let me take the onus. Oh God, it was hilarious because I remember I was sitting in our library and I was sitting in the biology section and I was reading from an encyclopedia. And we were in seventh grade, so seventh grade was the peak time where all the boys and the girls wanted to learn about each other's bodies. So every library, library period, we will get like, I would call it a lesson because right now we're talking about the actual period, so that sounds funny. But every library lesson, boys would be in that corner, finding images in encyclopedias and just giggling about it. So the teachers were very strict with who they would let have access to those specific encyclopedias. And I was sitting and I was reading, and I remember a friend came to me and he saw me read what I was reading. And then when I went back to my class, I said, Jasmita, considering you were reading the encyclopedia about human bodies, can you tell me what hole does the period blood come out of? And for I think the first 5 minutes, I was just stunned. I was like, I'm sorry, what? Because it's so funny. Are there like, do we have 600 holes down there? And is it that difficult to understand what goes where? And besides that, why was I told that considering you were reading the encyclopedia, can you? I am a girl. He could have just asked me, like, you are a girl, you must be menstruating. Can you answer these questions? But oh God, I was it was a ridiculous question. I just laughed it off, saying that, oh my God, really, is that your? I of course answered it later on, but for the first 5 minutes, I was just laughing. That seriously, did you just ask me that? And I will never get over with with the curiosity he had come up to me to ask if there are what number of holes and which one does what. It was just very funny. I wonder what he's doing now. Does he know what the hole does what?
Probably he's having a wholesome experience, let's just say that.
Oh, that's why.
What about you, Jessie? Can you recall anything?
Yes, and even before and until now, I keep getting asked this. They ask me if I feel it dripping and if I can control it, and I always say yes. And they'd have this horrified look on their face, like, yes, I'm that powerful, I can control it.
Yeah, I just
Yeah,
hold my breath
same.
and it comes back. You know, it's not even happening now anymore. Yeah, they make mini vacuums for us. It's hilarious. I mean, I think I was 17 when a classmate asked me, so I know, like, you girls bleed. I'm like, yeah, we know that as well. So how much is it? Like, is it like a few drops or something? Like, dude, it's not like, paper cut that a few drops will come and, oh, now we put a band-aid on it. Yeah, it reminds me, we've been asked that, do we use band-aids when we bleed? I'm like, okay, sure. I'm sorry, what is happening? Are we living in the same world? But sadly, we do live in the same world where there are assumptions and there are stigmas related to talking about menstruation. And more than, I think, women should talk with women about it, more than that, women need to talk to men and men need to talk to women about it because they are clueless. uh, and coming back to the subject that I little bit touched upon when we started this conversation, was that period talk, period shame, everything about periods is associated as a taboo, right? And be it through advertisements, be it through myths we follow in our families, or we read sometimes in our not so advanced books about what a woman is, or how she feels, or how everything about her is determined when she starts menstruating. I wanted to understand what is your take on the same, or anything that you would like to highlight for our global audience, any taboo, any myth, anything that you came across while growing up that really, I would say, boiled your blood, or was something just you didn't agree with, or over the time you've decided to not agree with, because, like, Jesse mentioned, we are all Asian on this call and our audience may not be all Asian, so it could be good for them to have a little cultural insight. Ishita, do you want to start with that?
Yeah, I would love to because I think it's something that really needs to be talked about. But here in India, they have this whole thing about being impure when you're menstruating, and because of that, you're like banned, or so they tell you, that you can't enter temples, you can't participate in any rituals or anything religious or holy because you're unholy at that time. So I think that that's just so sad. And like I've had like my friends like tell me like, oh yeah, you know, I can't come for this like festival because like I'm on my period. And like, isn't it high time that we just realize that every woman is going to be on her period at some time, and they shouldn't just be removed from being part of such celebrations or any other rituals? Another interesting thing that happened to me was I was watering, like I'd water plants every day, and there was a time when one of these plants ended up dying. And my mom said to me that like, oh, like, you know, you water the plants, did you water this one when you were on your period? And I was like, I mean, I do it every day, so yeah, I must have. And she said, oh no, you're not supposed to do that, that's why it died. And I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure that's not what happened. But I realized that even being in a modern family, like some of these myths are still around, unfortunately. And you know, we got to get rid of those of what people think.
Wow. I mean, again, we talk about the kind of pressure young girls have not to just deal with menstruation physically, but the conversations that are orthodox, that are conservative in nature, that goes around, be it calling women impure, be it calling women dirty. I know there are so many families in India who still believe that when their daughter starts menstruating, she should not be sleeping on the bed, she should be, you know, on the floor, not enter the kitchen, not touch food. Uh, and I mean, I can recall growing up, one of the shows that I really saw that was on Balika Vadhu, just for Jesse. That was, you know, that was a show based on a child marriage. But I did see that this still exists. If somebody is being, if something is being shown on television to the masses, then that's happening in parts and in regions to depict that through television. And it's just not something we can call taboo or a myth. It's really, it needs a change. We cannot pass it on to the next generation of young women that, oh, this is what you can't do, or you don't have to do, or you'll be responsible for a plant being dead. And with that, yeah, I see, you know, Simran giving me mixed reactions, a little bit of smile, a little bit of disappointment. So I think I'll just call out on her.
Ouch, disappointed, so disappointed, especially as we talk about Balika Vadhu. It reminds me of the ads we see in between everything that we see, especially on the Hindi channels that we have, and the brands that put out those advertisements. Like it starts with the name itself. One of the most famous period products company is called Whisper. That's where the taboo starts. Why should we whisper about it? Come on. And they will show every ad is about how women get empowered when they use their pads. So it will be psychic. A girl will be sitting sad, and another woman will come and she'll give her a pad. They will never mention, as we said earlier, never mention the word period, never mention the word menstruation, never mention blood. But somehow, if a girl is sad, she's on a period, give her a pad and she'll be happy. She'll be wearing white all over. She'll be sleeping on white sheets. She'll have white curtains for some reason. And she can do anything. She can climb a mountain even without any skills or training. That's not how it works for everyone, does it? It might work for some people, but not for everyone. And the blue water. Do I even need to say anything? I think I talked to someone just recently and they were like, I've grown up seeing that blue water, and when I got my period and it was red, I was like, is something wrong with me? Isn't it supposed to be blue? And that's so true. And I remember recently there was this case in Australia where they actually showed red blood and the woman staining herself and blood on her legs. And there were so many complaints against that ad to take it down, 600 plus complaints because it was disgusting. And the advertisement people were like, but that's how it is. Thankfully, it wasn't taken down. But that's the scenario it is right now, where even the advertisements that we see about periods for women are not real. So I guess
Wow.
we all are bleeding wrong.
Yeah,
We are
wow.
bleeding red.
Disgusting. I'm sorry. Excuse me. I go through that every month. Can you explain to me what is
I know.
disgusting about it? And apparently, like you said, those women in advertisements bleed blue. Yeah, Jasmita, oh, what do you want to share?
1 minute, 1 minute. What are you guys discussing? You guys bleed red? I have been bleeding green all these years. What are you saying? Oh my god, I need to go see a doctor. Maybe I don't know what's going on.
Maybe you need to confirm the holes again, Jasmita. There has been something miscalculation then.
Oh God. No, no, no. See, they show blue because green is not a very attractive color, right? That's why they show blue. Red too is out of the question only. Nobody's blood is red. And I think we need to understand that as women.
We don't bleed blue. We probably, drink a tonic and then that's what we take it out. So just to fresh, our body, our blood to clean it out, we just drink blue tonic and we take out blue water. There is no bleeding, there is no pain. It's all, it's all in our head, just emotions,
It's in your head.
PMSing, it's all in our head. It doesn't actually happen. So it's not the reality. It's something that women have made up in their mind that, oh, it's painful, or it's emotionally really, yeah, it's emotionally a roller coaster. Nothing like that really happens. Jesse, I see you smiling.
No, because talking about taboo societal depictions on periods, I feel like a commendable thing in the Philippines is that we don't say it's dirty. Like I'd never heard of it, like people saying it's dirty or like getting grossed out by it. But there's even some superstitions about like getting your first period and washing your face with the blood just so you can get a clear skin when you grow up. I didn't do it, guys. I just have clear skin naturally, okay?
No,
Don't look at me like that.
did it work for
A
Jesse?
natural
I'm like,
beauty.
yeah, did it work for Jesse? Is that the reason why you all are like always so shiny and so glossy? We got Philippines' best kept secret now.
Yes. But there's also another one. Like we can't take a shower if we're on our periods. Cause if our heads get wet, we'd go insane. Like clinically insane.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's
that's
the
what
one
happened
we have.
with me. That's what
Oh,
happened with me. I think I took a shower and I was on my period and now I've gone insane. I'm sorry, guys.
oh, that's why you bleed green. I see.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think we do have a similar stigma that you should wash your head after you're done with your periods, and you can't do it while you're on your periods for some unknown reasons. But you tell us, Jesse, if it really works for shiny hair and strong hair, then we'll try that as well.
No, no, I will not tell you guys
Oh, I
anything.
mean, I mean, I have such good product ideas right now, like PNG Presents Whisper in collaboration with the period shampoo. Use your own blood to get shiny, thicker, strong hair. Wow.
Yes, it's unhygienic, but it works.
Yeah, it's gross. It's gross. It's dirty. It's everything. But make sure that you use it on your face. Yeah, I think. Of course, having talked about everything that society and I think media fails us at, let's move on to our real lives. People who surround us. How they have failed us. I mean, when it comes to period shaming, getting bullied at school, especially I think because most women start bleeding when they are in school, embarrassment or the negative experiences that are associated, around period and the stigma. Um, if you would like to share about it, any of the stereotypes, anything that you went through that was not really a nice experience emotionally, I would say. Simran.
I think, yeah, in school itself, you are on your period and you have to hide the pad somehow. In your sleeves, in your pocket, if you don't have a pocket that's big enough, God forbid, you cannot even tell your female teacher, oh, I need to go to the washroom because I'm on my period, which is silly. And I think we touched upon this right at the beginning, how in the beginning or even throughout, some women feel very dirty about getting their period. Every time they get their period, they feel themselves that they are impure because that's how it's been internalized into us. And I definitely felt that a lot for the first few years. I Every time I got my period, I would get really awkward and like stay away from people because I'd be feeling extremely dirty. I'd washed my hands a million times and just not be able to get over that feeling. I think what changed was, one day I heard one of those one of those very cliche meditation podcasts we have where they have these random words like you're a goddess, you're power, you are everything. And I don't know why, but somehow my mind clicked listening to that while I was on my period. And it just made me realize that, really, periods are because you conceive children. That is why you get periods because you don't. So, um, you are literally a goddess, and there's nothing dirty about being on your period. It's something that's normal, it's natural. It is going to happen every month for almost the rest of your life, so get used to it. So I was thankfully able to come out of that, but I think a lot of women are still there feeling dirty every single time they get their period, and that is something that our own loved ones, our society has failed us very, very sadly, uh, because we just can't get that thought out of our minds. And I think we need to have more conversations on that to understand it's not dirty, it's not a problem with you, it's not a disease.
Thank you, Simran. Very well said. It's not a problem with you, it's a problem with people who think it is a problem. And that also reminds me of an interesting study that, when young girls and young boys under the age of 10 go to school, they have somewhat similar confidence. And as women start hitting puberty, they start developing their breast, so they start menstruating, their confidence goes down. And while young boys remain at the same level or just grow from there, and then women have like has this curve where it keeps going down, and then it again, some of them rebuild it, some of them don't. And why does it go down has so much to do with the developments in our body, because we feel ashamed, we feel underconfident. I remember I didn't want to take my dance classes when I started menstruating. What if, there is spotting? What if somebody sees it? How would they react? I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to go play volleyball. I didn't want to go out there in the field. It's just so much that we restrict ourselves from, because we become so conscious of our bodies. And just imagine if there were five guys in our class at that time who said, "Oh, I understand what you're going through, and I am your friend." And why I say guys, because most time it's not usually young women who will come up and make fun of you because they're going through it. And it's not even young boys fault, because they're not taught, they are not told what it is. And I think mothers and teachers and fathers and society should do a way better job having that conversation with their young boys, that what you see happening in your class right now is normal, is something where you should be supportive and appreciate it, rather than using it as something to laugh upon or make rumors out of. Because I still remember, there were like young boys, and they'll see young girls spotting or having the whisper passing on to each other. They will randomly take it out of their bags, they'll show whose is this, it fell down, and laugh on it. And somehow it was a joke that, when do you crack joke on somebody when you know the other person is minding it, or they are getting embarrassed by it? So that is bullying, right? What starts off as something funny because they don't understand what it is, and in their mind they are just making fun of something that you're hesitant about, and it turns into bullying, and that turns into years of consciousness and losing your confidence. And when we're young, we don't even know why is it happening, how is it happening. I think Simran was fortunate, or the periods that fell in love with her really made her smart, that it clicked with her that, oh, I'm a goddess and I shouldn't be ashamed of it. But it doesn't work out for every young girl out there, and they spend so many years trying to figure out what's wrong with them. How can they hide themselves and be in this closed box where they don't show themselves to the world for 5 days, for 6 days a month, which is like a lot of days if you take it out on a yearly level, and then in tier 10 years level. And I remind all my audience that young girls, young women on this panel today and in this conversation are still adulting. They are all who have had very recent experiences of starting their menstruation, dealing with the pressure, dealing with the emotional cycle, physical pain, and being in a position where they openly talk about it, and they are here to change the course of thought process, or the better understanding of menstruation and stigmas associated with it for the next generation of young girls. But we still have been through it, pretty fresh in the memories. are still recent comparatively. And with this, I'll come to Jasmita. I am pretty sure she would have something interesting to share about.
Honestly, of course, the points that you and Simran have covered are very important and very less spoken about, or maybe spoken about enough now that we've started the conversation. But I feel the most common thing that you hear as grown women, right? Once you have taken back the power from anybody to make you feel poorly about your period, that oh, you are impure. Once you grow up, you've access to more information, you have access to sisterhood where women are supporting women, saying that no, that's not dirty, or you are a goddess, then you don't let these certain things get to you. But then at your workplace, or be it at college also for that matter, you will have these few pieces, just few cartoons that will come up to you and say, oh, you seem very upset, you seem very angry for no reason, maybe you are PMSing. And I've had that said to me so many times, that oh, maybe you're PMSing, you're PMSing. It is such a uh, scam, because how about I'm not PMSing? You're just dumb and you're saying stupid things, and that's why I'm getting mad at you. And if you were saying things that made sense, I would not get mad at you. So I feel like that is one of the stereotypes that I absolutely hate, and I can't make peace with, because how my period makes me feel is no longer about the society. I'm no longer letting the society affect my perception of my body or my period. But if these people around me keep coming and asking me, are you PMSing, just because I am reacting in a way that they don't want me to, then that's something I will get angry at. That's something I will hold against them. So I think that's something we should work on collectively, and stop asking women if they're PMSing just because they are cranky or if they're upset.
We are always cranky, we just use
Yeah.
PMS as a defense system, that oh, we are on a periods and we are PMSing. It's just that's how women are, hormonal, emotional. I mean, let's not even get into the assumptions about what we feel and how we feel and why we feel it. But I think very well pointed out, Jasmita, that's something I think we never stop dealing with, because when we are young, we are shamed and we are bullied to have it. And once we grow up, we are again bullied for feeling our emotions. And I think some of those times that could be PMSing, because come on, we are going through hormonal changes and imbalance, and if we feel a little emotional, some days we do, but it cannot be justified every time we say something, we feel something, it's because of a cycle we are on. Come on, guys, we have been on it for what, like now 10 years, 15 years, and I'm talking about, when we are working out there and we are the boss ladies we are supposed to be, and we know how to deal with it. It's not something that just started yesterday. We've been dealing it with it pretty long to know how to control our emotions or how to behave in a professional setup. With this, I know that we are running a little over time. I think that's what we do every time we come here with the agenda. Let's do it in 30 minutes, and then we cross it, because these conversations are so interesting and so important that once you start talking about it, there is so much to open up about. So with this, I'll come to my last question, which is, share more about your personal relationship with menstrual health and your message to people at large, that what would be like changed with what's happening right now, how we can change it to make it better for one and all. Just with, I know that you had pretty strong experiences and perspective when it comes to menstrual health. Do you want to go first?
Yes, yes, please. As mentioned in the beginning, I said that I have always had a very nasty relationship with my menstrual health, with my period, because I have PMDD, which just makes when you talk about PMDD, PCOS, PCOD, these are all menstrual health like syndromes and disorders that affect your body in ways that you didn't ever think of, right? You think it's just bleeding more than usual, or bloating, or just acne on your skin, but no, that's not it. When you keep seeing that acne come up over and over again every month, you start looking at yourself differently. When you see your hair fall out at a very young age because of your menstrual health disorders, you start looking at yourself differently, and you feel very conscious of who you are. So I think personally for me also, it has been that only. Ever since I was young, I had very, very long, like 12 to 13 day long periods sometimes. And sometimes, of course, they were a week long. but then I would bleed terribly and I would have crazy mood swings. I would be so unpredictable and I would not be in control of my emotions of what I would say or how I would say. And I have had so much trouble in school also because I would not miss school for like a week every time I would menstruate, right? So I would go to school with all that pain and emotional disturbances, and I would get yelled at for being disrespectful, for being rude, for being too emotional. And after a very long time, I thought that okay, this is not normal. My mom pointed out that yeah, this is not normal. How is it that you are having such terrible cycles? And we saw a doctor, we got hundreds of tests done, reports made, and that's when we realized that okay, this is a disorder and I have to live with it. And since then I've been on medication and it's gotten better, but I remember hating being a woman. I remember sitting and crying and writing in my diary saying I hate having a uterus, I never want to have a child, why can't I just get it removed out of me? I hate being a woman, I hate being a woman. I kept saying that to myself, I kept saying that to my body. I hated my body every month. And I think that's a very negative place for a young girl to be. I think that's a negative place for everybody to be. But yeah, I would want to say that now I have grown to a point where I appreciate my body. I'm glad that it can do what it does. And I'm glad that I'm a woman. I own it now. But yeah, so I think it is very important for us to remember that it is a natural process and it is different for each woman. Us five sitting on this call right now have such different experiences with our menstrual health or with our cycles. It's because it's different for all, and it cannot be generalized saying that oh, it's just bleeding. No, it's not. It's just so much more than that. And we women need to consciously love our body, love our uterus, and I just love all that happens in our body every single month, because it is a blessing to be able to give birth and to be this powerhouse who does this, who bleeds every single month and continues to live a normal life. So I think it is very important for one to have a good personal relationship with the menstrual health, make peace with it, love it, and celebrate their womanhood.
Wow, I think so perfectly said, Jasmita. It's something we should all celebrate a little more openly. And with that, I think I'll ask Ishita. Ishita, what is that something you see that needs a change or that has to be changed about menstruation or talks around it so that we live in a better world?
So I think I didn't have a relationship with my menstrual health because I just kind of ignored it, mostly because of the stigma around it. I was just embarrassed to think that I was going through it. And like Jasmita, I also hate my own body. And just sitting alone in that isolation with nobody to talk to, it was an awful cycle. And it was later when I saw girls in school and college just talking about it openly and, helping each other out, like whether, you're comforting somebody who's having bad cramps or trying to figure out how to use a menstrual cup. And like everybody's just, supporting each other. And then I realized that, this is normal and there's nothing to be ashamed of or have to hide. And like, I wish that this could be true in families and schools, and like I would especially have loved a more open atmosphere at home, because I think that the way that my family addressed, or rather did not address it at all and never spoke about it, that's where my negative feelings started. And that's where I started thinking that like this is something, if I can't even talk about it in my own house, like how can I express it if I'm not even at home? And so I just wish that it could be something that we could just speak about more openly and just remove the taboo around.
Thank you, Ishita. I think, yeah, we all need that. We all need to celebrate the womanhood and need to more openly talk about it. Jesse, what would be your closing words to today's conversation, and your message to people who are listening to us right now and who will learn more about our experiences and connect to us, I think, on a more deeper level, especially as women sharing their menstrual stories. And yeah, I mean, just share with us what would be your message.
I think I would say, since we've all shared our different experiences, I would say that it's different for everyone, and I think you need to find what's best for you. Like, you need to learn what your body needs. And since it's a different experience for everybody, you don't have to compare yourself with other girls, other women, or other families who openly talk about it. So yeah, just thrive and love your uterus.
I That's beautiful, Jesse. Thank you. I mean, um, everything that you say is as beautiful as you look. So it's hard to be ignored. So you better listen to what Jessie is saying right now, because yeah, she is a beautiful human being, and we should all make sure that we follow her instructions. That's what we do at Girl Power Talk, right?
Thank you. My beauty is due to my shedding uterus, but that's a secret.
Simran, last but not the least, what is your message, and what is that something you would like to change about the conversation, stigma, and everything that relates to menstruation and menstrual health?
I think I'll just say be you. I mean, we are all women on this call, but to all people who menstruate, because it's not just women, find, as Jesse said, what you want to do. Do not listen to anyone. It is your body, and it gives you signals. Just listen to those signals. If you want to take a bath, please take a bath. It's good to stay hygienic when you're menstruating, but if you cannot because of bad cramps, it's also okay. If you feel shitty, just put on your most comfortable clothes, binge eat, and take the day off, or put on your sexiest clothes and go out for a fun day. Find what makes you feel good, give yourself time to get over it, and just people will always talk. We have to learn to turn a deaf eye, and to the people who talk, please don't. Parents, teachers, let's share more information, real information, and complete information so that we can be okay with our bodies, and young girls and young people who are menstruating do not feel burdened with not knowing, finding out, and then also dealing with this very new thing that is happening with their body. So yeah, let's work together as a society to make periods a normal concept.
Thank you, Simran. I think very well said on this is our body, and you need to decide what works for your body and not what people tell you works for your body. I think to fall in love with yourself is very important, and I think Simran absolutely pointed out correctly. If you feel like staying in your bed, crying and eating food, do that. If you feel like putting on the best clothes, go out and dance, do that, because just like other, let's say, 20 to 25 days, we feel all kind of emotions: happiness, sadness, adventurous, not so adventurous. That's how we can feel on our periods as well. So you don't have to constantly put this effort that consciously, oh, I'm on my periods, that's why I'm feeling so sad, or I'm feeling certain way, and let me put myself out there a little more, or let me do something which I don't want to do right now, but let me just challenge my period mood. The period mood is a normal mood that can happen to you any of the other days as well, but do what you feel most comfortable doing. Be who you want to be. And from us to you, the message is that let's talk about it more, because we find solutions and we create solutions only when we understand that there is an opportunity for improvement. So to recognize that and change that is our challenge to you. And if you have any interesting period stories, or the period talk you had with your friends, parents, teachers, please share it with us. You can reach out to us on our Instagram, that is at the rate girl power talk, and you can also email your interesting period stories to us at info at the rate girlpowertalk.com. We look forward to receiving your stories and sharing some merchandise or featuring you on our Insta page. Looking forward to hearing from you, and we are your friends at Girl Power Talk. Stay connected for the next episode on another conversation, something that you can really relate to. That's all for today. See you later. Bye.